Charlie Louvin, Part 3 of 7.
You've already put big old tears in my eyes. Must you throw dirt in my face?
Hey everybody, it's Marla Sitten with NashvilleMusicSpace.com, and I'm here with the living legend, Charlie Louvin. Now, it's July 20th, 2010 right now, and July 7th, you had a birthday, and you turned 83, isn't that right?
That is correct.
And you've had just quite a ride, and you're a young man in your mind and a little flirty sometimes. And
well, now I haven't made this journey by myself. I think the little kid's in there now, but I've had the same woman since 1949.
This is her right here.
And that's me in 1949.
And her name's Betty, right?
Right.
And that's your first photo you had made together?
Well, professional photograph. We actually went to the studio and made that.
Right.
And this was before, nationally before digital, and it was back in the Kodak days. One shot and the battery's dead, you know.
Right.
And but we've had some good times and we've had some rough times. But the health, I don't suppose that she's ever cost $500.
She's been low maintenance.
In her life, a very low maintenance. You could give her $1,000 and go and tell her go spend every penny of this on yourself. Or she'd go shopping. She might try on every shoe in the shoe store. She'd come home with you something. Nothing for herself.
Wow.
So she's not. She knows the worth of money, and she's not overly stingy, I would say. We give all we can, really all we can afford to give. But I'm a strong believer that what you give away is all you'll leave this world with. You won't, I've never seen a U-Haul that hooked behind a hearse yet with all the money in it, but the kindness you show and the gifts that you give will follow you, I believe. It's not written nowhere, but except in my head.
I believe you're right.
But if somebody came to your house, their house had just burned, and you had children of your own, and you had a husband, and they needed everything you have, really. Would you go in your closet and say, well, here's a couple of pair of blue jeans that John hadn't worn in 10 years, and here's the kids, oh, I just bought that, that's new, and would you give them old stuff, or would you give them your best?
I'd try to give them all of it, Charlie.
Well, you need to give your best. If you don't give your best, you really haven't given.
Right.
And we have certainly been a part of that. And I'm thankful that we could give.
Me too. You've been on some of the biggest record labels in the world, and you and as the Louvin Brothers got your first deal in 1947. Then in 1949, Decca put a record out on you. You guys recorded 12 sides on MGM. Now you stayed with Capitol Records there as a solo artist, right? And towards the end of your career, you guys were on Capitol. So what is it like for people who dream of a record deal to have the opportunity to be on some of the biggest labels in the world? Not just one, but a multitude.
Well, the reason we didn't record more songs for Decca Records, we cut Alabama and the 7-Year Blues. Those were both Louvin Brothers songs. And then Paul Cohen, who was the boss at that time with Decca Records, started just sending us just big packages of records, to listen to songs. But they didn't lend themselves to harmony. And so we just didn't like them. And we were told, this is what you're going to record. So they would set up a session and choose the musicians, but Ira and I would get sick. We only had to get sick 3 or 4 times because it was only a 1-year contract, and so we got sick and never did record again for Decca Records. And Then Fred Rose got us to deal with MGM, and that wasn't a good place for us to be. Hank Williams and Patty Page got all the advertising money that MGM spent. So finally, Fred Rose told us that and he got us to deal with Capitol.
Now, during that time the Louvin brothers were together, your touring was sporadic and your recording because you were in the Korean War. What was that like, going back and forth from your music career and the war?
I can't tell you I liked it. I don't have to say that.
No, sir.
You see, I joined the Army before we actually got started good. I became 18 years old in 1945. You couldn't get a job no place. Everybody would tell you that the draft will have you before you can learn anything. So we can't train you for nothing because you don't have time. They'll draft you. So I heard that several times, and I got teed off, and I just went and joined. So I was only in there 14 months, and they passed a law that they don't put money with what money they take out of your money to send home. I was sending a check home to Mama and Papa. And they said, we're not going to do that anymore. But if you're really needed at home, all you got to do is go to headquarters and tell them they'll discharge you. So I really had about all I wanted in 14 months. So I took the discharge and came home. And then we were doing quite well in Memphis. In 1952, I get my greetings from the draft board. So I rushed down to tell them how stupid they were. And I've been there and done that. And they said, we know that, we know everything, but you haven't got but 14 months of active duty. You have to have 24, so you're in. And to top that off, I only like 3 weeks of being over the limit of 27-year-olds. They wouldn't draft you beyond that. And my wife was 3 months pregnant. So they informed me that she could do that just as well with me in Korea as they could if I stayed home. So away I went. But the day that I got 24 months in, I started on them real heavy. And if you remember the name Estes Kefauver, he was a senator at that time. And he had already had dozens of letters from me. And I wrote and said, what would be wrong if you sponsored a bill and you're in the Army, but both of your terms in the Army amounts to 24 months. Shouldn't you be able to get out? He got that bill passed in the Senate.
Wow.
As soon as it passed, I was on my way home.
That's awesome.
And the boy that you seen tonight play the guitar was like a year old.
That's Sonny,
Sonny.
your son.
And he's worked out quite well. And I have 2 others. Sonny's 55, I have a 52, and a 49.
They're all older than me, Charlie.
Well, just hang in there, honey. You'll catch up.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for a show tonight? Let me hear you say yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, straight from the Hall of Fame, from Country Music's Hall of Fame, the man who helped change lives and change music throughout history, gave Elvis Presley his phrasing, George Jones his voice, and on and on. The one and only and the great Charlie Louvin. That's it.